Hey everyone, out here. Giving you guys a heads up right now. Sorry for the really loud background noise. It's due to the AC fan being right next to me. You guys can see that's my big issue right now for noise. But I will do the best I can to be loud and clear while I tear this engine down. Um, Hopefully it works out for everyone very well. But we're tearing down another VR6. Now, this VR6, believe it or not, is actually really good condition. So, I'm going to give you guys a long story short in just a moment. Turn the AC off. My family needs the AC full, not me. Uh, so, again, I'm going to do the best I can to be as clear and as loud as possible. Um, so, to give you guys the long story short, I went to the junkyard. Christian and I pulled this engine at the junkyard, and in the process of pulling the motor, and when we got home, someone called me. And what's funny, the person that called me was the original owner of this car that I pulled the motor from. So right now, right off the bat, I know for a fact this is a running motor. He called me because he wanted to know when I pulled the transmission off if I did any damage during the process. And I said, no, I took it off and we were as gentle as possible as you can at a junkyard. I didn't want to damage my stuff. I mean, I bought an engine. I didn't want to damage it by being very abusive removing it. So I did the best I can removing it. So now what I think I'm going to do, because that AC fan is very loud right now, I'm going to try to drag the engine into my garage. I didn't put it in the garage right now because it's not light to move. This is a very heavy motor in comparison to a 1.8T. This is a much heavier engine, so it's not easy to move. So give me a minute. I'm gonna see if I can get this guy put in my garage, and that way we can just close the garage and we can talk a lot clearer and louder. But we're gonna be tearing down this motor completely down to a full block, short block, because we're gonna get it ready for the machine shop, so we can start building our high compression VR6. No, off the socket. Yo, what's going on, Joe? Yes, Saucer, it is a 12 valve VR6. Ah, this sucker's heavy. Oh, yeah, I forgot I took this. I hand bolted this pulley. Well, this sucks. This thing's heavy as hell. Yes, we are going to be doing street cams 266s, I think is what they call them, or 268s. We're going to go to a 10-to-1 83 millimeter piston using stock rods, stock crank. We're going to try to do the intake manifold port matching and the exhaust manifold port matching. We're going to try to do that here at the house, grind out the ports so we can get some better flow. We're going to do 2 millimeter oversized valves, so we're going to go big valves on this. I'm trying to think what else we're going to do. I think that's pretty much it. And then we're thinking after all that, probably put this guy, no comió frijoles. We're going to try to maybe build it, tune it for NOS as well. Probably do like a 25 or a 50 shot of NOS. Just for fun, you know. This is kind of the idea of this build. Again, different. Not normal here at Pichel's Garage, you know. There's a rock here blocking my... this thing's so heavy. I need your help. It's because I didn't eat beans today. That's what they said. Exactly. We're gonna gap them for NOS. I actually got a buddy. My machine shop is gonna teach me everything I need to know about that. I know if we have to gap them more for NOS because of the heat that's gonna create. So we need to make sure they're gapped more. So when you get out hotter, when those rings expand, they don't seize up. You need gloves. I have my gloves. They're probably your gloves. So that's pretty much all we want to do with this motor. With the other 12 valve that I have here, that's another 12 valve VR6 right here. We just tore this one down. This one is actually going to be built for my friend Luis. He wants me to do a complete refresh on this motor. Because this motor, he wants it just for daily use. Huh? I don't know. What's up, buddy? You were nearly worrying. Yeah, just in. So that's why we're going to be building 2 VR6s. Thank you, Joe. Thank you for the $5 donation. And that's why we're going to keep doing what we do. $4.99. And this is why we do what we do, because we're going to be building these two. Now, this one for Luis, I'm doing completely for free for him. He's just paying for parts. And the reason why we're doing it for free, because we're going to build it for you guys, so you guys can learn how to do this. Yeah, they're identical motors. So we're all going to be a part of this learning experience with the 12 valve VR6s. And what's really cool, we're going to try to do them both at the same time, but they're going to be 2 completely different builds, which is dope. We need to push together till we get it to the edge, and then I'm going to lift it up while you push forward. Okay? So get on this side right here. Put your foot here and push forward. 1, 2, 3. Something stuck. You gotta lift up the front. Ready? There you go. Okay. Okay, stop right there. Just if it decides to tilt over or something like that, just move out of the way. Don't try to save it. Not worth it, okay? I'm gonna tilt this back. I'm gonna tilt this back first. Yeah. Push forward. Push forward. Okay. Hold on. Hold on. Push forward. Hold on. No. Hold on. We're gonna. One, two. There we go. All right. Hold on, guys. Close the garage. All right. Woo. Now we are going to do this. Now we're back to typical information. So I'm in typical build here. We're going to move more space. Let's see here. Thank you guys. Thanks for being patient. I'm doing the best I can right now to get us all up and going correctly again. So the old owner of this engine, he said it had 120,000 miles on the engine. So whether or not I believe him, I don't know. But I can tell you this right now. It's a good engine. He legitimately called me because he was going to pull the engine out with his transmission that he just had rebuilt. He had an automatic transmission built for it. So it is hot in here. This is why I wanted to be outside. But it's a lot quieter. So again, he called me. And the reason why he called me actually a couple days ago or a couple of weeks ago, weeks or months, it's been so long, dude. My time is all off. But I went to his house because his son wanted some advice on building a 1.8T. The only downside is he had an older 1.8, so he had a 99 1.8T, which is an AWD. And the issue with AWDs, they're narrow band. They don't have all the good features of like an AWP engine, where they're easier to tune and easier to build in general. But I told him, I go, we can convert it to a wideband ECU car. We can do a lot of stuff to it so he can benefit from it. But things happened, and that situation wasn't gonna turn out. Which, again, we're gonna leave that pretty much end of story. So he's a big VR6 guy. He owns like 4 cars with VR6s. This car was impounded for reasons unknown. I didn't go any further than that. Was impounded, got sent to the junkyard. He was tracking it because he wanted to get stuff out of the car. So he got stuff. I went to the junkyard a week ago and I saw this car there, and it was untouched. I went back 2 days ago, and it was still untouched. So we pulled the engine, and then when I took the car home, a couple hours later, when I took the engine home, a couple hours later, I received a random phone call from the guy that I talked to months ago, stating that that was his car that I pulled the engine out of. Because I posted pictures of the car and the engine in it, and he recognized it, and that's how he called me, because he knew where the engine was going. So pretty much at the end of all the conversation, he said this had about 100 to 120,000 miles, which is awesome, number one. And it was a runner. So I got a running 12-valve VR6 for under $400. The other VR6 that I had in the engine that was, I'm not going to say damaged, but it had a spun rod. I ended up selling it to another guy for very cheap, for $200 to Luis. And what's really, really cool, because I had a spun rod and a bad crank, my buddy Tiny had a bottom end with a good crank and good rods that he's giving to us to donate to the channel. So now Luis will have a really, really good bottom end that I'm going to rebuild for him. We're pretty much going to rebuild him an entire 12-valve VR6 for him. We're going to build this 12-valve VR6 for the YouTube channel, but this is a Patreon build. So this build is strictly for Patreons. So if you guys are not following my Patreon page, I highly recommend becoming a Patreon member, because you guys are going to get all the exclusive content for this build. All right. On top of that, becoming a Patreon, once this build is done and the car is fully built, we're giving away the car to a Patreon member. Period. Plain and simple. On top of that, we're also giving away the Corrado. So we're doing a double giveaway. Super, super cool. So towards the end, pretty much to make long story short, I got a good engine, dirt cheap. A fellow viewer, subscriber, is going to end up getting another engine built for me, for his family and his car. And everything I'm going to be doing for free at no charge, because, again, this is a learning experience for me and for you guys on YouTube and on Patreon. So everybody wins, and so we're going to tear this engine down and have some fun. So let's get back to work and let's start tearing down the motor. So first things first, we got to pull all the accessories off. Is the first thing out of, for this to start off. So I'm going to pull all the AC, the alternator, power steering, water pump, tensioner, and the crank pulley. Once this is all done, we're going to start working from there. Then we're going to be working on top, taking off the fuel rail, the lower half of the intake manifold, the rear exhaust and exhaust manifolds. That should clear up the front of the engine and the back. After that, we should be able to get rid of all the accessories over here on the right-hand side, all the smog stuff that we don't need. Get rid of the fuel lines, get rid of all the other stuff on the other side. And then once that's said and done, we're going to unbolt the head, take the head off, put that aside, and then we'll flip the engine upside down, disassemble the whole bottom end, take the pistons and the rods and the crank out, and that's a fully torn down engine. And then from there, we're going to leave that down as we save some money. Once we save some money, we're going to start getting the, what's it called? We're going to be working on the car itself, doing some aesthetics, some other fun stuff on the car. We're going to learn how to do interior work on a Jetta. We're going to do some custom interior stuff. We're also going to do some custom false floors. We're also going to do maybe some custom door cards. I don't know. We're gonna be playing around with the Jetta a lot. So if you guys are gonna want to learn those new DIYs that will be coming, again, you have to become a Patreon member to do that. All right. If I win it, bud, instead of shipping it over, I'd say sell it and put it to the process of local charities. I agree with you, David King. I definitely would do that. What's going on, Luis? Welcome, welcome. All right, so time to go get my tools and let's get to work. All right. And get my little tools here. Yes, Luis, tear down today. By the way. Can you get me some sandwich bags and a Sharpie? Whew. All right, okay, turn down. Okay, David King, although it would be awesome to own, just thinking of the cost is just the best option. Also, dude, the Bop shirt with the white cutout background looks spot on. Cheers, buddy. Thank you, David. And then just so you guys know, Luis that's on here, Luis M, he's actually the other guy who's getting the other VR6 that I'm building for him. So you guys got to thank him for that because he's going to make it possible so we can build 2 VR6s on this channel. My little giblet. All right, so I'm not a big fan of using air tools. You guys know that. Nice. I said I'm not a big fan of using air tools, but today, for the sake of time, we're going to be using air tools. So please bear with me with the noise and whatnot. It's all for funsies and stuff. So we're going to be taking off the tensioner first. I'm not going to use as much torque. I don't want to damage anything. And everything we remove, we're going to be using. We're going to make sure we label everything that comes off. Very, very important. Ain't gonna work. Ah. All right. An extra foot. There we go. That one's gonna need a wrench or a ratchet. down to that. Now, one thing we're going to need to do to be smart with, I got to go grab a rag, something that covers the bottom of this so I don't get a bunch of stuff dirty. Something like this. That way everything we take off sits on something nice and clean. Alternator bolts, power steering bolts, tensioner hardware. All very, very important towards your disassembly stuff. One thing that I do preventatively is I soak this with the WD, because this is going to be the most annoying one to remove, but it's not that bad once you get it soaked in some WD. Get yourself a mallet for this guy. Oh, I guess not. It came right off. I don't get that lucky, man. So, yeah, it's actually not bad. The water pump is here. On top of that, you got to remember there's a bolt inside of the water pump. So there's 1, 2, 3 in total. So you got 3 on the pulley and then 3 on the water pump itself. So 6 bolts for the water pump to come out. You got 2 for the AC compressor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for your power steering. Once you have all that removed, then you can get your accessory bracket off. Once you have that, this part of the engine is already done. Then we're going to work our way over to the side, to the back, and then pull out the manifold, fuel rail, and then that should be pretty much a fully stripped engine from here and here. We're going to turn the engine around and then do the the back side, get all the accessories removed off of there, and then again separate the head from the block and pull everything out from the bottom end. All right, so fun. 16. Okay, so hammer makes a good difference here, but I don't use it. I use rubber. Okay. You can do a little bit of prying if you want. Just be careful. You don't want to pry too hard and damage something. I like using a hammer because a rubber one especially, because it gives you a little bit of flexibility of what you can smack and not damage. And we got the Allen bits right here for your bracket. Accessory bracket removed. Pulley. Water pump. You can see here it's actually been leaking already. So you can see there's a coolant buildup already there. That means this pump is already on its way out. So time for a new one. Good thing it's here, because we'll build a new one for it. I mean, we're not building a new one. We're going to put all new stuff in it. Now, this is what I don't like. Make sure that your Allen wrenches go all the way in. If not, you need to go with a screwdriver and start kind of like cleaning that out, because this has to go in as deep as possible. If you don't, you're going to end up stripping the bolt, and then you're in a worse, way more worse situation. Nothing yet, Tiny. I haven't broken anything yet. Oh, then Luis. Yes, we're still good for Tuesday, Tiny. Luis, you got to thank Joe Garcia, because he is the one that's hooking us up with the bottom end. So make sure you tell him thank you. Water pump. I hope there isn't a lot of water in this. Eric, you are the man. Keep doing what you're doing. Videos are great. And the production you have been releasing for the community after testing it is truly amazing. Great way to give back. Thank you, Eric. I appreciate your comment. That matters a lot to me, actually, because I want to keep giving back as much as I can. So this is what we're doing. Oh, it's got water in it. Almost made a mess. I see here. Let me get a bucket of some sort. I have a bucket of some sort right here. I'm going to need a rag of some sort as well, because it's going to make a mess. Well, it doesn't make that much of a mess. Oh, that's a lot. Ew. All right. Let's cram that rag in there. Ew. Ew, so gross. Yeah, this water pump has seen better days, that's for sure. Ah, man. I put that over there. Well, this is also why we keep rags around. Zoom messed up my phone for hours. I don't know how to do that. I was glad to meet you, David. Yeah, we can do a close-up of the impeller. Give me a second. Here we are. You guys can see that. It's still spinning freely, so no damage to that. But you can see, I think a lot of water, just plain water, was being used. Because you can see there's a lot of rust in here. So that's kind of normal when people just neglect their blocks and don't go to G12 or the proper coolant. And you see right here, see this? RTV like no tomorrow. Man, just a proper gasket is all you need to do this right. Really, really irritating when people like just cram as much RTV as possible on these things and expect them that this is going to last. It's just not done right. But yeah, you can see it's starting to oxidize pretty good. Decent amount of rust already building up. So I'm glad that we're tearing this apart so we can actually rebuild it. So we're going to hot tank the whole entire thing and get this done nicely done. So we're good with that. So now I'm going to do the exhaust right now since it's right there. But first I need my wife to get me some baggies. Be right back. Yeah, green coolant is no bueno. That's asking for problems. Oh, my wife already brought him over here. Didn't even see him. Sandwich bags. Sandwich bags are super important, guys. So ACC bracket. Tag them, tag them. Simple, to the point. First one, done. Then we get this out of the way. Put a box. PS pump. Now, you do have some scenarios where, like the alternator right here, see right here, if the bolts can actually go onto the alternator and you can leave them on there, just leave them on there. Don't need to do that. My power steer, the AC pump has threads in it, so run your bolt through, bolt it in place. That way you have less chances of losing your hardware. You're ripping out your hair trying to find bolts for all your stuff. Simple as that. Out of the way. This guy, let's see if I can take the belt off. I'm just gonna leave it on here. I'm not gonna even care. This is water pump. This is what was that? Tensioner. Now let's assume that you're not going to be reusing a lot of the hardware. Doesn't matter. Still tag it and bag it. And the reason why you want to do that, let's assume that you go and you buy a bunch of new hardware and new bolts because you don't want to reuse the old stuff. You have the old stuff for reference. You'd be surprised where people are like, oh, I just buy this and that, and then you get the wrong stuff, and then you end up spending twice the amount of time trying to find the right stuff. You have the old stuff with you. You can use it as a reference. That way, when you start building your engine or putting it all back together, you know what bolts, the length, the style that you need to get if you're going to get new hardware. Even if you get a new style of hardware, you still need to know the length and everything, because you don't want to be running bolts longer than what you need, because you end up damaging stuff on your block, and then that's no bueno as well. So just a little tip there for you guys. So here we are on the exhaust manifold side. We're going to take this sucker off really quick. The exhaust manifold, these are 12s all around for the heat shield. Same goes for the actual manifolds themselves. Let's see. Make sure they're 12s and not 13. Yep, 12s. Now, all the exhaust bolts are not reusable. They're one-time use. So don't be going out and reusing this stuff. Whenever you reuse it, you cause more problems than benefits. So I am warning you now, just don't reuse your old stuff. This stuff just got to be used once, but you still keep it. You still tag it and bag it. Yeah, Tiny, I agree. I'm kind of short on time. That's why I'm trying to do this with my impact gun. I'm not a fan of using my impact gun, but because I'm short on time, I'm using my impact gun. But I'm using it on a low setting, so that way I don't damage anything. Just pulled the entire stud out. Actually good, because I want the studs to come out on this car. I always put new studs on all my blocks, so I'm pretty happy with that actually. Oh, the nut came off of that. Oh well. I hope you don't pull a stud, and the first thing is I pull a stud out. I actually, keep in mind, Tiny, I prefer that the studs come out because I like replacing all my studs. Again, when I rebuilt engines, all my exhaust studs are brand new. Even the intake manifold, if they have studs in them, I replace them with brand new studs. I always prefer doing that versus keeping them in there. I don't want to run the risk of stripping old studs or snapping the stud. Oh man, if you ever snap a stud inside of an aluminum head, have fun trying to remove it. Not the best scenario you want to have. Okay, exhaust side is done. This is a knock sensor, I believe. Yeah, knock sensor. So you want to keep as many of the sensors as you can. Yeah, I know. That's why I got one stud. Only one stud out of all the ones I removed stayed in here. So I'm going to remove that later. Yeah, it's kind of annoying. But yeah, strip studs suck, man. Or strip bolts suck, period. And on very, very vital locations, whew, it's even worse. Wire cutters. Oh, that's even worse. Jeez. Hey, Luis and Tiny, we all can get up. We all can get together and have a night out and chill. When you come down to pick up your motor when it's done. You know how it make me happy, Tiny. You know. I work for beer. All right. So done. We just got to do this side and this side, and that's it. Oh, dipstick is unbolted too. So now we're going to do the, let's get this turned over, the front of this. It's a lot easier to turn now, that's for sure. Just so you guys know, Samuel Varela is actually my little brother. So if you guys never met him, he's actually on there. Hey, David Kane. This guy. So now we're working on the front. So we still got the bottom half of the intake manifold, fuel rail. Let's see what else we got here. Fuel rail, the fuel harness, which is useless because we ripped it out. I mean, it doesn't matter to us because we're using another. We're not using it, so all this is caca, just trash. So fuel injector lines are on these motors suck, man. These fuel lines are just, the wiring for it just suck, honestly. Can't wait to make my own stuff for this car. Do a wire tuck, engine tuck, brake tuck, all the tucking. Broke off 2 injectors. Tiny's got it. He knows the joke. If you know, you know. All that smog stuff is just going to disappear in a little bit. Okay, so fuel rail right there. Dude, I am melting right now. It is so hot. Yeah, I broke 2 injectors. I'm not using them, so there's like 4 of them. If you got anybody wants injectors, they're free 99 before I throw them away. Bruno, I don't know yet. I don't know. I'm not at that point yet. I will be talking to tuners and other people with similar builds, so we know what to do. This sucks. I just bent the fuel rail. Today? How long? Well, I bent the fuel rail, so that means we have to get an integrated engineering fuel rail now. Oh, darn. I was going to get one anyways, but that sucks. I bent it a tad because these fuel lines are not popping out. All right, they're out. Mostly. Half an injector popped out here. This barely even did anything. Yeah, this is trash. We're not keeping that. That sucks. Oh well. Well, give me a second. I opened the garage. I got a little bit of fuel vapor blowing filling in here. All right, that should be better. All right, so now we're going to pop off the intake manifold, well, the bottom half of the manifold. On our high compression build, I'm really considering doing a short manifold or short runner manifold, just for the sake of cleaning up the engine bay, but it's an idea. Too small. I just broke that injector. Again, I'm not caring about this stuff. ITBs would be dope, but they're not very cost effective. If we're gonna go that route, that's a good $2,000–3,000. You know, they're not cheap, but they are super cool. All right. So now we're down to just that. Not bad, guys. Doing it pretty quick. This right here, the injector harness is literally trash, so we're gonna toss that. The combi valve secondary air pump is also trash. The fuel rail is also trash, so we're tossing that. The crack pipe right here, we're gonna pull out in just a moment. Before I do that, I'm probably just gonna tear down the side of the block and then go from there. So I need my rag. So now we're only down to the bottom half right here and the back for fully tearing down the block. And then we're gonna start with pulling the head off and going from there. Hopefully I don't have too much cooling in here. I really don't want to make a mess in my garage. So we'll see. Wish me luck. All right, so I'm gonna go toss all this stuff down below. Be right back. This is all trash. I don't need any of this stuff. David, the reason why they probably went with the plastic cover is probably just to save cost, honestly. You know, honestly, they probably went plastic just for the sheer fact of cost. Alright, so clean this up really quick. So I gotta turn the engine around. All right. Whew. All right, now turn the block around. Give me a second here. There we go. All right. Get our towel back. So here, we're going to take the, there you go. So the ignition coil, the cam sensor, the water flange. This is the water pump bracket. This is where the auxiliary water pump chills. So we're going to be removing all of that. Once this is all removed, then we'll work on finishing that, and then we'll pull the head off and then go from there. Yes, Tiny, I am interested in that valve cover. I'll take it on Tuesday. Let me look at it. All right. So we got this here to take off. This is going to be messy. Hopefully not too messy. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Get a rag. Cram that rag down below. Hopefully. Blade here. Got this coolant line. There we go. Gross. Done. All right, so that's all taken care of. Just these 3 bolts right here. 1, 3, 10 millimeters here. Take this bracket off. And then we're ready to remove the head. Well, not yet. I gotta take off the timing cover. Gotta take off all the other stuff. So we'll see. We'll get to it right now. We're pretty close. Pretty close. Yeah, that was the crack pipe that we just removed with the coolant flange, which is trash. Yeah, correct, Tiny. We got to remove the 2 Allens down here, which holds this timing bracket in total. We have to remove the valve cover, and then we can remove the timing cover after that, and then I can pull the head off. My back's okay. It's not gonna. It hasn't flared up yet, so we're good right now at the moment. That's why I'm going as quick as I can, because I don't want it to start flaring up on me. So next is the valve. I'm just going to do the valve cover. It's because they look like a crack pipe, not because it's a chrome and problem that cracks. It legitimately looks like a crack pipe. That's why they're called that. Valve cover removed. Out of the way. We were up until almost 2 in the morning, dude. We were on for a minute. So we got to take these 2 Allens off, and then the entire upper timing cover. Yeah, no, it's a clean motor for sure. Very, very clean. So I'm very glad that we got this. The head is really nice. It's actually, if I look at it, can I set it to time? What do you mean? You want me to set timing on this? I don't even know where the timing marks are on this engine, honestly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so upper timing cover. We're gonna label this. And then I get my Allens that go down here, so I get these taken off. So this timing cover can come off. I can find my Allen wrenches. The Back of the... No. You're talking about this big old thing? That doesn't need to come off. It's fine, David Kane. That's what we're here for, man. All right, give me a second here. I got to pull down the 2 bolts right here. Yeah, you guys are dumb. I love it. Making comments, guys. You guys are dumb. All right, so upper timing cover should pry off. Just like that. It's got some decent tension on there. So we got to take the lower timing cover off now. Okay. Lower timing cover is a big one. So, I might just remove the cams. Yeah, I'm probably just going to remove the cams and the tensioner bolts here and here. Because I really don't want to take the lower cover off. So we'll do that. We'll take the cams off, and then once the cams are off, that'll give me the ability to pull the chains out this way and pop it off. Okay, so these are 13s for the cams, by the way. I think they're 13s. Let me confirm that. Yeah, 13s. And usually what I'm going to do is I'm going to take them all off. And once I take them off, I'm going to put the nuts back on and keep the caps separate. So... one cam. Okay. Now the caps, very, very important to figure out the orientation. Okay, so if we look at the cams here, they're all labeled numerically. So remember, this is the back of the engine. This is the front of the engine. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So remember that these caps go back in that specific order. So do not lose your the way that you have them on here in that specific order, because you don't want to damage your cams when reinstalling your caps. Tiny, I agree, but they're also facing, the arrows are going this way versus this way. So someone might be like, oh, just point them whatever direction. You'd be surprised, man, how many people do not like to follow directions. You know, they just, it fits, let's just put it there. All right. This one's giving me a little bit of a headache. There we go. Come on. You both can come out. Just come out. There you go. See? We're all friends here. Cam 1. Cam number 2. Freaking tiny, dude. So on both of the VRs, we're going to completely replace all the lifters. Just because they're so inexpensive to do lifters on this, it just makes sense. They're only $15 to $20 a lifter. I'm just going to replace them all. We're not reusing any guides. Nothing is going to be reused on this block. Besides, for this motor, we're not going to reuse anything except for keepers on this block, because we're going to put brand new Technonics tuning springs and retainers and use the factory keepers, because that's all you need. Brand new lifters. We're going to go oversized valves. We're going to go Technonics tuning 266 or 268 street cams for the head. So we're going to fully build this head for flow. Again, we're not trying to make big numbers. We're trying to make a rev happy engine, an engine that just loves to rev the shit out of itself and have fun. I'm not looking for major horsepower. I'm looking, again, to have a fun build. You guys, all you guys with your guys, oh, just boost it. Yeah, I can do that with almost any car. But why? I'd rather build something that's going to last me a good lifetime, or not me, but whoever wins the car, a good lifetime, and have fun with it, you know? So I'm going to be a little lazy. I'm going to do something. No, Tiny, you're not buying the head. I'm going to be a little lazy, and I'm going to cut the guide right here. Maybe. I'll see what happens right now when I get to that point. So this is a 13 for this guide right here. It was broken. I didn't have to cut it. That was awesome. So that saved a lot of time. What's going on, Monroe? So the head is completely ready to come off. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Bolts to remove. Oh, man. These heads suck. All right, let me go get my tool here, my triple square for this. I think I brought the right triple square. I don't have it with me. Let me go check in my other bag here. Oh, wait, here it is. Come on. What's on it? That's it. Now, this impact gun is not the strongest, so I don't know if it's going to work or not for this. We'll find out in just a moment. Oh, well, that one came up quick. About a minute. Pull up the head bolt. Got those. That is weird. Everything on this side came off with no problem. But on the other side, I'm getting some major struggles here. That one came out. That one came out. That's so weird. Nothing. Nothing. Okay, easy. Easy. Not easy. Oh, gotta bring out the breaker bar. What I didn't want to do. Nope. Nope. Ain't gonna work. Ah, you just get my breaker bar. Call it a day. All right. Now, removing the head, we're going to do some more inspection. Always important when you remove vital components of a car or an engine is to inspect. So you know what, you're not, you don't, how can you say, are not surprised with other problems that you might find during your build. So it's very important that you do that when you get to that point. All right, clean my hands. So for me, for safety's sake, not safety, but I mean for time's sake, I'm going to put these cam caps back on. Same way I took them off. Let them chill on there. I agree, I should get some help, but I'm an old man, and I'm grumpy, and I'm disgruntled. Nah, just kidding. My wife is busy, so I'm not going to bother her. I mean, I did the other head by myself, so. What's so cool about this head, it's so simple. It looks like it's going to be super, super easy to rebuild. Super, super easy to get it all back up and going. So I'm excited for that. I'm not going to have to spend as much time putting freaking 20 valves in here. So that's kind of exciting for me. I'm going to... So I'm going to get ready. Make some space for my head to go on my workbench. So all right, here we go. Pulling the head off. There she is. All right, so now the head's removed. Time for inspection. Let's see. Let's see. Time for inspection here. So let's get up and close and personal with this block and see if we see any problems with it. So head gasket's on right now, and this is very important because this gives us some information. Number one, right off the bat, that's not a good color. Those are water channels. So this right here is rust. This rust has been accumulating on this block for quite a while. So looks good, but this is not good because the reason why I say that, if you look here, and you look here, and here, and here, and here, and here, this head or valve cover, or no, I mean head gasket, I'm not kidding you, it probably was ready to go because there's a lot of corrosion right here. Okay, so a lot of corrosion right here is really bad buildup. So this gasket, if it would have ran a little bit longer, could have just blown and gone right into here and caused some more fun blown head gasket issues. And you can see here, I mean, this is all just mush. I can still, it's still kind of fresh. So that head gasket, that's giving us some information right here. So this right here is looking bad. This is looking bad. So looking at this, water was only used on this block, which is really annoying because that's not good maintenance, pretty much. Good maintenance is that we would never see rust build up because they're using proper coolant instead of green coolant or just water. So that's not great, but we can't do anything about that. And if we flip the head gasket over, you can see, I mean, it's clean, but you can see the rust build up all over in all the water channels. So we know, again, not the proper water was used in this. Okay, so that's already given us some information about the block itself. Now, here, if we look on each piston, if you look on each one, some have really, really crazy carbon buildup and others don't. So meaning an injector failing, a really bad vacuum, or just not performing correctly, just the way the engine was running. So you can see tons of carbon here. So it was running rich, not nowhere near as much. Either this was running rich or the valve cover was leaking and dumping oil through the spark plug. Is another common thing that happens here. And you'll see over here, this one is not as shiny as this guy. This is actually way more dull. So this was either running lean or actually proper in comparison to this guy. If we look at these, this one and this one was also running really, really rich. Or again, a valve cover failure, leaking oil right into the cylinder, causing this. This guy, technically this top row right here, these 3 cylinders are perfect wear. These 3 down below, horrible, horrible, horrible wear, tons of carbon in comparison to these 3. So again, right off the bat, not proper maintenance done to this block. Now, that being said, I mean, it's not a bad thing. We gotta focus on, when we get this block hot tanked, we gotta focus on what needs to be taken care of as we keep building and inspecting. There's a lot of rust buildup inside the block. So when this thing gets hot tanked, we gotta get this block with some coolant, get some really good coolant in here, flush it multiple times, and then run good coolant through this car. That way we don't have to worry about the car building up rust in the system, the car having issues with overheating or clogging a radiator, things like that. These are very, very important things when you start, when you actually get into building an engine, is to get rid of as much rust as you can, because rust can build up, accumulate. Again, for example, this is a really good example of rust building up. This is rust right here. This is all rust, and this is chunks of rust. You see it, I can scrape it off. This is bad. You guys, the more this gets all chunky in your system, goes through your radiator and clog one of the rows, meaning you're going to have a less efficient cooling system and a less, I guess, a car running too hot versus running too cool or proper. Again, these are things that we have to pay attention to, especially when building an engine and when you're disassembling, where you need to put your focus into during your build. So when you get into building and you put it back in your car, you have everything taken care of correctly. Okay. I mean, it could be because this is the exhaust side of the engine, but in all honesty, 12 valve VR6s, since they have 6 dedicated runners to the intake and exhaust, I don't think that's the issue. If you think about it, because every runner is dedicated per cylinder on a VR6 manifold versus like a 1.8T where it's one big log and it just blows air in, and cylinder number 4 is always the weakest one on a 1.8T. In this scenario, it looks like something was going up with these back cylinders in comparison to these 3. Something went wrong, because there is an obvious problem. And again, cooling might have played a factor in it, Maybe these back 3-cylinder, the passages for all the coolant wasn't working correctly. I mean, it's a possibility that these three don't run alongside these three. I don't know. Or it could be vice versa, like these three were having more problems than these. Because again, carbon buildup means you're running rich, or you're having issues with vacuum, or just overall fueling problems. So it's a big possibility that these three injectors maybe were running a proper duty cycle. Again, it's really hard to tell what was causing this certain problem. On the other VR6 that we had that we tore down, it did not look like this at all. Even though it had more issues than just that, but the pistons themselves all had identical wear across all 6 cylinders. So I don't think it's because this is the exhaust side. I think it's because something else was going on with this engine, honestly. So unfortunately, that is it for me right now. I do have to go. I have some stuff to do. My wife just gave me the hand gesture. So we'll come back another day and we'll do the bottom end live. Don't worry, guys. I will not do this without you guys watching. We will make sure that we all do this together live. But I very, very appreciate it. Now, just so you guys know, when we actually start building this engine, only people are going to be able to watch this as it happens is Patreon members. So if you guys want to become a Patreon member, please go to patreon.com, look up Pinche Al's Garage, and become a member. And becoming a member guarantees you one chance to win the Jetta Mark IV with the VR6 high compression motor. Yes, we're giving away this car after we're done building it. So please, please, please become a Patreon because it gives you a chance to win. Every member that is a Patreon member only gets one entry. Whether you enter once or multiple times, you still get one entry. So your chances of winning are extremely high. So please, 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 guys, go to patreon.com and look up Pinche Al's Garage and become a member. And keep in mind, you also get a lot of cool perks, not just videos. A lot more stuff also comes your way. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Have a wonderful day. Be safe out there. And we'll be back again very soon to finish the bottom end of this engine and do some more inspection. And again, as always, have a wonderful day and peace out, everyone, and be safe out there. And as always, here at Pinche Al's Garage, we're going to break, we're going to fix, and we're going to repeat. Hell yeah, Tiny. Thank you, buddy. I would love that. But see you on Tuesday, Tiny. So I'll talk to you later. Everybody else, peace out.